The three most popular Class A diesel motorhome brands are Newmar, Entegra, and Tiffin. Today I wanted to take some time to share with you backgrounds on each of these three companies. I want to talk about the pluses and minuses of each of these companies, what Class A diesel RVs they provide on the market currently, pricing, and I just want to give you my overall analysis of Entegra, Newmar, and Tiffin. Tiffin started building motorhomes in 1972. They were privately owned by Bob Tiffin until they were acquired by Thor Industries in December of 2020. Entegra used to be Travel Supreme. Travel Supreme started building fifth wheels around 1988 and then got more into the motorhome side of things. So Entegra started around 2008, but we really didn't start seeing a lot of Entegra coaches until I'd say around 2012. There's probably a few 2011s out there, but there's just not that many motorhomes built overall in that 2010 era. And that's something I'm kind of changing paces a little bit here. So what happened was all of the RV manufacturers had to really halt production because supply and demand went so far out of line. So they held their inventory and sold off the inventory. Eventually there was enough demand to buy up those RVs. But looking back at RV history, there's very few RVs out there built in the 2010 era. Now, talking about Newmar, Newmar was founded in 1968. Malin Miller and Marvin Newcomer founded Newmar out of Napanee, Indiana. And I forgot to mention that Entegra is built in Middlebury, Indiana, so right down the road, not far from Napanee, Indiana, where Newmar is built. We've got a lot of information I want to share with you, but it's getting a little warm out here in Florida, so let's kick on the ACs in this Dutch Star, and I want to share a lot with you today. So before we talk more about the three biggest motorhome brands, I want to talk about one thing that a lot of pre-owned motorhomes need, no matter how nice they are, and that is your mattress. And that's why we've partnered with Brooklyn Bedding, RVmattress.com, and we've got a coupon code for you all to get a 25% off discount using the coupon code Andrew Steele. And one of the things I like the most about Brooklyn Bedding, RVmattress.com is all of the different sizes of mattresses that they make. So if you have a bunk coach or a king, RV king, they've got all different mattress sizes to fit different RVs, and they also have different firmnesses and styles. I prefer the Firm Aurora, and depending on whether you're a side sleeper or back sleeper, you can get on their website and they can recommend what mattress works best for you. And I recently learned about their Titan mattress, which is designed for the bigger and larger folks. It's constructed with high density foam and strong Titan core coils. It offers superior edge support, motion isolation, and long lasting comfort. And it does come in all 9 sizes, and Brooklyn Bedding does have a 120-night sleep trial, a 10-year warranty, and free shipping within the US. So whether you want to upgrade your mattress at home or get a new mattress for your RV, you can check out RVmattress.com and use the coupon code Andrew Steele to get a Brooklyn Bedding mattress. We greatly appreciate them sponsoring the channel and helping us make these videos to try to provide as much information as possible for you guys. But there's so much more information that I want to share with you about Entegra, Newmar, and Tiffin. So let's take a seat, and I've got a lot to share with you guys, so you may want to grab your popcorn for this one. Now, there are other companies building Class A diesel motorhomes, but these are the big three. Now, Newmar diesel motorhomes are typically going to be available either on the Spartan or the Freightliner chassis. Most of the Entegra motorhomes are going to be on the Spartan K2 chassis. In recent years, they've bought more entry-level Class A diesel pushers. Now, comparing these three motorhome lines, I want to start from the top down to the bottom. We try to showcase the higher end, the tag axle, the best of the best motorhomes. So starting with Tiffin, their top of the line motorhome is going to be their Zephyr. It's a very limited production. The new Tiffin Zephyr has an MSRP pushing on $900,000. That's going to have the X15 Cummins with 605 horsepower. It has a 150-gallon diesel fuel tank and a really cool interior design, but in my opinion, they just bootlegged the new Newmar King Air design in 2021. Newmar made some big changes for their King Air, and the Newmar MSRP is at 1.7 million. So there's a huge jump in price, and I'll talk about some of the different equipment that justifies that price. But I also want to talk about Entegra's Cornerstone line, and they are going to have different models of different Cornerstones with different options, but their MSRPs are pushing on that $950,000 range. And of course, MSRP is just the asking price. Now, the discounts that are out there are a totally different story. Now, historically, Entegra coaches have been known to come more off of the MSRP than Tiffin and Newmar, but over the last few years, we have seen Tiffin doing some pretty significant discounts. Like here we see a 24 Zephyr 45 FZ with an $890,000 MSRP listed for $667,613 at National Indoor. And here at Motorhome Specialists in Texas, we're going to see an Entegra Cornerstone with a $926 MSRP discounted all the way down to $575,000. That's a 38% discount on a 24. That's very significant. I'm trying to find the pricing on the King Airs, and it is a little bit frustrating because it's all of that call for price. It's about a 1.65 MSRP. I see one at North Trail RV, but what they're really selling for is hard to say. I know Brad's had some new body style King Airs come through here, I think for around $899,000. So there's definitely a significant discount off of MSRP, but it is kind of secretive. But the King Air is definitely going to demand much more of a premium than the Cornerstone or the Zephyr. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, how do you justify the price point of the different quality levels? And I've talked about it before, where I will put Newmar at a higher quality than Tiffin and Entegra. I would say Tiffin and Entegra are very similar, and I like Entegra a little bit better for a few reasons. I like their exterior paint designs, and I like the quality of the paint. I think it's a little bit harder clear coat than the Tiffin clear coats. The Tiffins have a very soft clear coat, and I did RV detailing for over a decade, and it was very hard to wash a Tiffin even with brand new wash mitts without scratching the paint. So that was one of my complaints. Now, Tiffin does do some cool stuff like their seamless slides. I really like the look of the seamless slides, and they have a great reputation for their service in Red Bay, Alabama. There's a lot of different vendors and resources to get work done on Tiffins. So if you're close to Red Bay, Alabama, Tiffin definitely makes sense just because of all of the service resources there. Now, they did have their proprietary Power Glide chassis. I believe they've gone back to the Freightliner chassis recently, and that's one of my other complaints with the Tiffins is being on a Power Glide chassis. If you say take that to a Freightliner dealer or a Spartan dealer, maybe on the West Coast, I don't think they're gonna enjoy working on a Power Glide chassis as much as they would a Spartan or a Freightliner. It's kind of like taking a Chevy to the Toyota dealership. Tiffin does have some cool design styles and some cool floor plans. Now, the Entegra Cornerstone is going to be on the Spartan K3 chassis, which is the same chassis that the King Air is on, and Newmar also makes the Essex and the London Air to compete at the higher level. Now, the Essex and the London Air are also going to be Spartan K3. They're also going to have the X15 Cummins, a 20,000 pound towing capacity on all of these coaches at the higher level. And Newmar is known for their OnStar foundation, where when you look at the metal structure of the coach, I think it's going to have more metal structure throughout the coach than the Entegra or the Tiffin would, which is going to go into that cost. And I have to give the cabinets, the overall fit and finish, exterior paint, Newmar is the winner in my opinion. They've got some great floor plans. Now, when it comes to bunk floor plans, I think Entegra makes more bunk coaches. You can special order a Newmar with any bunk floor plans, but I think the dealers, the Entegra dealers, are pre-ordering and having more bunk floor plans built. And Tiffin doesn't really do a lot of bunk floor plans in their bigger coaches. You will see more floor plans when you get into the smaller, like the Allegro Red. Each of these three coaches are gonna have all different levels and different styles. So I'm gonna go from the top to the bottom of each of the coaches. So starting with Tiffin, you're going to start with the Zephyr. The Class A below that is going to be the Allegro bus, and the Allegro bus they're going to make from a 37-foot to a 45-foot coach. They even have a 35 CP, I believe, if they're still making it, with the rear bathroom. I called it the worst floor plan, having no middle bathroom. If someone wants to use the restroom, they have to walk all the way through the coach to the back of the coach. If you have, guests staying with you and they need to use your restroom, they got to walk through your bedroom all the way to the back of the coach. So I'm not a big fan of that 35 CP floor plan. But going below the Allegro bus, you're gonna have the Phaeton, very popular motorhome. They make the Phaeton from a 37-foot to a 45-foot floor plan. And I do like some of the newer designs Tiffin has been using on their paint. I don't know if that clear coat is any more hard than when I was washing coaches a few years ago, but their design styles have definitely stepped up. And then you're gonna get in, to the Cummins 450 or the 360 and some of the lower models. And then below the Phaeton, you're gonna have the Allegro Red. And they do make the Red from a 35-foot floor plan up to a 39-foot floor plan. And then talking about Entegra, we mentioned the Cornerstone is the top of the line. Below that is gonna be the Anthem. That's gonna be on the Spartan K2 chassis with the Cummins 450. And they do have a new 37-foot floor plan in the Anthem for 2025. As far as I remember, in the past, it was always a 45-foot coach in the Anthem line. And then you're gonna have the Aspire and the Riata. For the Aspire, you've got floor plans from 40 up to 45 feet. And then the Riata, they've got 37 to 40 feet floor plans. And then talking about Newmar, starting at the top is the King Air, and then the Essex. Below that is going to be the London Air. All of those are going to be Spartan K3 with the Cummins 605. And then you have the Mountain Air, which I think is kind of a forgotten sweet spot, especially some of the shorter coaches they make with the tag axle, where you can get the Cummins 500. It does have the upgraded Allison 4000 transmission, where a lot of the coaches with the Cummins 450 are gonna have the Allison 3000 transmission, which having that much weight, just having that beefier transmission makes a big difference. And that Cummins 500 with a 40-foot coach is just a rocket. And then the stability with the tag axle, it's one of my favorite motorhomes out there. And then below the Mountain Air is gonna be probably one of the most popular diesel motorhomes out there, the Dutch Star, like we're sitting in today. I love the Dutch Stars. They're analog, they're simple, easy to use. I believe you can get down to a 38-foot floor plan. I think you can get that 38-foot floor plan in the Mountain Air as well. They're very rare, but the 38 with the tag axle is a very sought-after coach, and they do very well on resale if you can get your hands on one. And the Dutch Star, the 4369 is going to be the most popular Dutch Star floor plan, like what we're sitting in today. Just such a nice package for the money. And below that is going to be the Ventana, and they also have the New Air, which is a 35-foot coach, which is probably going to be more around that Mountain Air. It's almost like a smaller King Air, but more on that Mountain Air price point. And then new for this year, they're going to have the Northern Star. And I've got to give credit to Casey Tubman, the president of Newmar. I recently got to spend some time with him and ask him some questions, and he was very responsive. He wanted to know what you all are thinking, and I made a video challenging him to build a non-slide Newmar with no bells and whistles, and that video is definitely worth checking out if you didn't see that. We'll leave a link to that in the description below. I've been telling these RV manufacturers that lesser bells and whistles is better. Of course, it's really nice to have all of the bells and whistles, but when we see these coaches age over time, I'm the guy that definitely can't afford this stuff new, but maybe when it gets to be 5 or 10 years old, it might get into my price range, and I want less stuff that can break by the time it gets to the point where I can afford it. So I'm a big fan of these Dutch Stars personally, and some of the more simple stuff, the Phaeton Titans, the Entegra Anthems, the Aspires, lots of really nice coaches out there. So one of the biggest things that I would take into consideration when choosing between the big three are, where are you going to get your coach serviced? If you're in the South, close to Red Bay, Alabama, it would be a no-brainer to get a Tiffin if you're only maybe an hour or two drive from Red Bay. If you're maybe in the Midwest and closer to Indiana, Entegra or Newmar may be a better bet. Or depending on who has the best dealership in your area. I'm a big fan of going to the actual factories to have service done. They're just going to have the resources, the parts, the wisdom. The same people that built these coaches are going to be the best to fix them. So you can get some stuff repaired at dealerships, but there's definitely a peace of mind in being close to the factory and having that support. And now if you're in Indiana, Newmar is going to be a higher quality coach than an Entegra, but you can get into an Entegra for quite a bit less money. I think when you start to see the cabinet build, you might hear more rattles while you're going down the road. Stuff just might not be quite as firm, and you might have some smaller holding tanks. The King Air was at a 200-gallon diesel fuel tank. They went down to 165 gallons. I did talk to Casey Tubman about that, and he had a very good explanation for that regarding the weight of the coach. Really the most important thing to do before choosing between one of the three is to go out there, touch and feel these coaches, open and close the basement doors, open and close the cabinet doors, and hone in on what model you're looking at. If you're looking at a Dutch Star, look at the specs of the Dutch Star versus the Anthem. What are the holding tank sizes, the fuel capacity? What's important to you? Are you dry camping a lot and you need the bigger holding tank capacities? Do you travel long distances and you need that bigger diesel fuel tank? You might need to jump from like a Dutch Star up to London Air or King Air to get that bigger diesel fuel tank, or the bigger towing capacity. And also inverter size. I didn't go over it, but I remember looking at the size of the Zephyr inverters versus the King Air inverters. There's a lot of different places that the manufacturers can cut corners to save costs, and we try to share as much of that information on this channel. So we really appreciate all of your support, and hopefully this video helped you learn a little bit more about the three biggest Class A diesel motorhome companies out there. I appreciate all of you that are subscribing to the channel and liking these videos. I hope you're all having a great day.